This week on the Spike and Jones podcast.
Welcome to the Spike and Jones podcast. I have no idea what's inside this podcast, and I was here for it. It's like I blacked out. You know what it's like? It's like taking a magic 8-ball and shaking it, and instead of looking at it, beating yourself in the forehead with that magic 8-ball. That's what you're about to listen to.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Spike and Jones.
I do like the fact that we're in a room that says CBS Seattle.
For now.
Yeah, so we can't talk about that.
No, I guess not. Well, no, it's public knowledge.
Is it?
Well, that there's a merger going on.
Okay, but we can't talk about who on site may or may not be here.
Because nobody... Well,
it's all speculative.
It is, and anybody who says they have information is full of shit.
Yeah, that's not fair.
You know, we all hear rumors, at least in this building we do.
Right.
You know.
Oh my goodness, it's been a while.
Too long.
We've got to figure this out. So you are now. I mean, we're coming into the fall.
Right.
It's what is today? September 16th.
Yes, it is.
So
no, it's the 15th.
It is. Oh, that's right. It is. Oh, happy
15th.
Happy birthday, Aunt Betty. There you go. My mom and my sister and her sister are Irish twins.
Nice.
Yeah, or Scottish or Catholic twins, whatever the term is.
Anything within inside 12 months?
Yeah. My mom's birthday Sunday, so
nice.
It's hilarious. We haven't been getting together much this summer.
We have not.
And that's been a huge bummer because we've been stuck on episode 31 for a while.
Wow.
I mean, I think we seriously, I think we've done 3 episodes the entire summer.
I agree. And you've been sick, and I've been on vacation, and work's been work, and you've been launching a new chapter of your life.
Yeah,
I've been trying to navigate
this chapter
of my life, the double dip chapter of my life, 2 jobs instead of none.
Yeah.
So, but that's I do miss talking with you.
Yeah, I do too.
We have I think a fine rapport.
Well, we're actually friends.
That's true.
That helps.
It does, because I've worked with people that I don't like.
Yeah.
And I've worked with people that I love.
Yeah.
And I've worked with people that I tolerate.
In other words, everybody in the Bob Rivers show.
Well, no, at some point or another, I work with people that I loathe.
Yes.
But that that's not. I don't know if that's the case. I can say that now. I loathe someone I worked with. Yeah. But I never worked with someone that I loathed while we worked together.
No, I understand, and I know of that situation.
This person of which I speak.
Yeah, and shall remain nameless.
She who shall not be named. Oh, did I eliminate?
Did you get 50% of it?
I was about to say, did I just let half the planet off the hook?
You know, the funny thing is anybody with even a remote sense of your career would know exactly
who
you're
I'm talking about. Yeah, because there's been so few women that have come through our show. In relation to the the show itself,
and to the 30 years of which the show existed.
Yeah.
So God bless you, sir, and your
it's funny
and your one female counterpart.
Female, yes,
that wasn't a news person.
Loved.
Let's thin it down even more.
Whatever.
That's currently on another station.
Not
somewhere
even
else.
Somewhere, maybe.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know.
Hopefully, in another market.
Yes,
that'll never hear this podcast anyway. I want to say something before we get going today. We actually have obviously a number of fans, and that's great. A number of downloads every time we post a new show. But excuse me, but we do have what I would call 3 or 4 super fans. No, it's true though. I mean,
Mouseketeer roll call.
Well, what I'm trying to say is there are 3 or 4 people that regularly interact with our Facebook page.
Okay.
Those 4 people
Sure.
are, for the most part, localized fans, with the exception of our friend Byron in Florida,
who got crushed. Well,
Yes.
not crushed, but he got.
But he was terrified.
He got kissed by the cane.
Yeah. And so I'm glad
Not the
Byron.
cocaine,
Yeah, I'm
the hurricane.
glad Byron survived Hurricane Irma, of which he actually posted live video, and I watched a bit of it.
I did too.
And it was actually, geez,
It's terrifying. And that wasn't even the worst of
No.
the storm. Down in the Keys, I saw live footage coming out of the Keys, and it was just ungodly. I mean, it is ungodly.
Yeah.
That that's been fun for me this week, is to watch all the climate experts on Facebook. I love them so much.
Especially those that are flying around,
Bill Nye,
flying around in a big jet, saying things like, "There's really no such thing as global warming," and or "This storm was nothing like the others in the past."
I know, right?
But I want to say this before we get off on a political tangent, or talk about other radio hosts. Is one of our favorite listeners, Mike Nilsson. MYK, Russian Mike, has been very ill, and I don't know if you knew this.
I did not know
this. But Mike is a really great guy, and I actually wanted to go down to his house yesterday. So, Mike, I really did mean to stop by, but you were in the hospital. All that being said, he has suffered from a tremendously intense infection in his arm. After he had surgery, and he had to be hospitalized. And so I was really, truly worried about him because, what happens on Facebook is people will post something about something, and everybody, right? There's so much noise in social media that people don't really pay attention. They like it or they heart it or whatever.
Right.
The truth is they're just kind of skimming and going boom, and then going to the next one, boom, and they're not really interacting.
Right. They're skimming.
And and Mike's reach out was, "Hey, I can't use my arm, man. And I'm sick and I don't feel well, and I need I can't ask my father to help me because he's busy and whatnot." And I thought, man, here's this guy. He's kind of stuck, and people are like, "Oh, I'm praying for you," and look, prayer's fine, and that's all great, but
prayer doesn't bring a casserole over.
Right, exactly. It doesn't bring a person over who can maybe, I don't know, feed your dog or or even help you bathe. Right. So just wanted to give a shout out to Mike, and private message me, Mike, when you get this. I'm actually going to post this today. I'm going to just go and immediately cut this and get it up, and so private message me, and and if I can come down and help you out, I will. So, let's touch on Hurricane Irma first.
Sure.
So I'll just preface all of this and say my brother lives in Tampa, and that was exciting.
My sister lives in Tampa. My father lives in Tampa.
Yeah.
It's still exciting.
Yeah.
My dad's still without power as of the time of this podcast, which is Friday the 15th. My dad is a little inland and a little uphill from the surge zone, which had everyone worried. My sister evac'd. My sister evac'd in the 11th hour, even the 12th hour, I'll say, because it was midnight. Mm-hmm. My sister, who lives just at least closer to the coast in Tampa than my dad does, didn't evacuate because it was a East Coast targeted storm, if not a centrally targeted storm.
Right, it was going to run up the spine.
Right. And, my sister's been through a few of these, as my dad. If you're evacuating the East Coast, you don't leave the West Coast because there's only so many lanes on a road. There's only so much gas in the stations. You stay put and let those who do need to leave get out of the way.
Yeah.
And then the damn thing went west.
Yeah.
And started coming up the Gulf Coast.
And it never does that.
It does. Well,
it's rare.
No, it goes into the Gulf, and then it blows over.
Yeah.
It was a very weird storm in its tracking. So my sister, who had stayed put and waited till everything was sold out and everything was closed,
and no water and no gas.
Well, no, she sent me pictures of the house when she was going to stay, and the storm had shifted, and she's got 6 cases of bottled water. She's got rain tubs literally in her garage that she'll fill with water.
Okay.
From the hose prior to a hurricane. She's vet. And the fridge is, of course, full of food, and pantry's stocked with food. She's a smart girl.
Okay.
But then, as this thing could become a monster up the Gulf Coast, she's got a 10-year-old daughter, and her husband and 2 dogs. They got in the car and they found a room in Savannah, Georgia.
Wow.
And they drove from midnight to 5:30 a.m. to Savannah, Georgia, in a heavy rain, but ahead of the storm, ahead of the
just ahead.
Literally just ahead of the outer reaches of the northern front of Irma, chased them to Georgia.
Right, which is where all that first wave of intense thunderstorms were.
Right.
Yeah.
So when my dad stayed, because he's got a little bit of a newer home, and everything is built to Hurricane Cat 3, specs, which means the roof is literally bolted to the foundation. The roof is bolted through the house to the foundation.
Wow, that's hardcore.
I mean, it's what you do. He's got big, thick hurricane shutters that you just close down the windows and worry about plywood because you've got fucking hurricane shutters, And it was funny, my sister's mother-in-law actually went and stayed with my dad at his place, he and his wife. So the old folks were hunkered down, and my little sister and her family bolted and got north. And
wow,
but I spent all Saturday morning with my sister as she's full on panic mode.
Yeah,
watching the thing happen and wondering what to do from Seattle, just texting her.
It just blows me away that when the power goes out, though, it's Florida. Mm-hmm. So the sweltering heat thing, the humidity. And I mean, all those old folks died.
Yeah, I was about to say, look at those 8 deaths. Is it still 8? Has it climbed?
I think it's 8 still.
Well, there's some in critical care in a hospital, which was just across the street.
It just blows my mind, though. What I don't understand. I mean, look, I get it. I'm not elderly yet. I'm getting there. But I guess I don't understand how our bodies don't handle heat. I mean,
we don't. Have you ever lived in Florida?
No.
Okay, so I spent a year in Florida, and it's not just heat; it's sweltering heat.
Right, it's that humidity.
It's the second floor of a building with no air conditioning when it's pushing high 90s outside. I mean, it's you and I would have difficulty in this heat.
Yeah,
it's the headachy heat.
Yeah,
it's the difficulty breathing heat.
It's heat stroke heat.
Now imagine you're 90 or 85, or you're already. It was a physical rehab center and an old folks home.
Yeah.
So people that are already in compromised physical states.
Yeah.
But what chucks me on this whole story is, they had a generator.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
Well, they were feeding these folks.
Yeah.
This place had been through a bankruptcy. It had changed owners. It had been cited in the past. Florida is, God, I hate Florida. I hate Florida.
All I ever hear is terrible things about Florida. I mean,
Florida
Danny and Sarah make fun of Florida every day.
Everybody makes fun of Florida.
But I don't understand it.
We used to do bits. Guess where this story is in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
Florida is full of scammers.
Huh.
Florida's where you go.
Sorry, Byron.
Sorry, Byron. I mean, God love you. I know some wonderful people in Florida, but it's also fast and loose.
Really?
The rules in Florida.
It's like Australia in 1850.
Yes, the rules in Florida are made fast and loose. It's a fly-by-night state. There are billboards in Florida. Want to sue somebody? We'll find a reason.
Wow.
I swear to God. There are billboards. Want to sue somebody? Have you been wronged in any fucking way?
Yeah.
We'll get you money. I mean, it's where you go to. It's where people take their money. Mm-hmm. Okay, people go to Florida to retire, or they go to Florida to enjoy a good life that they've earned.
Right.
And with any herd, there's going to be wolves.
Yeah.
And there are people who poach on Florida, on Floridians,
okay,
on the elderly, on the the retirees, whomever.
Right.
The next step down in humanity, whatever it may be.
They've got great amusement parks.
They got a lot of great everything. The Gulf Coast is gorgeous. I love the topic or the topography of. No, it's a shit show. Who am I kidding? I love the beach. I love sun.
As long as you're by the water, where you can relax and be comfortable.
Right. If you're vacationing,
and it's 85
Florida,
degrees water.
I mean, it's great. It's a shark food. It's a shark feeding frenzy down there now. But Florida's just, there are too many people taking advantage of people in Florida.
Okay.
Always has been.
Okay.
So that's why I don't like Florida. Okay. My mom fled down there my mom and dad fled down there in the mid 80s. They became they became snowbirds. The Mid Atlantic is brutally cold winters, brutally hot muggy summers. That's the Mid Atlantic.
Yeah.
That's where we grew up. And Florida is it's hot, but it's refreshingly not cold in the winter, and you can always beat the heat with air conditioning.
Sure.
Unless you live at a retirement home that's screwing you over. So my folks moved to Florida. My mom spent, the last 30 years of her life in Florida.
Wow.
So except for the 2 years they were here.
Yeah.
They moved here when I got my brother and sister-in-law to move here, and I had all her grandkids. And I told her, I said, I got them all now, Ma. You can either see us every other year, or you can move here and see us all the time.
Yeah.
My mom lasted two winters here.
She's like, no.
She goes, I can't. She goes, I love it, but I can't. I love you guys, but I can't stay here. It's too gray.
Yeah.
I need the sun.
And I understand that, but
Sure.
I like the sun in January. I just don't. I mean, this is really nice today.
Oh, it's perfect.
People don't know this, but it's going to be about 72, I think, today.
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
It's paradise.
Perfect Harley riding day.
Yeah,
right?
it's paradise today.
But to me, I mean, I don't know if it's just living here, getting acclimatized to that gray and that coolness. But I mean, so my wife and I are talking about buying a property in Japan, and everything in me, as curious as I am about doing this and living over there at least part of the year, is gosh, I mean, if you're, so Japan basically latitudinally is equal to San Francisco.
Okay.
Right. I mean, so you're quote unquote, sort of whatever that would be, it's farther south than us here.
Right.
And therefore it's warmer, certainly far, far more humid there than it is here. It's similar to the Gulf Coast. It's, that whatever that is, that Gulf Stream-ish type heat that comes up from the Philippines, runs right up the coast of China, et cetera, and goes right over Japan. So if you are anywhere in Japan, it's pretty much tropical, subtropical, with the exception of Hokkaido, which is the northernmost island, which is the equivalent of, say, Vancouver.
Okay.
And man, that is where I'm going, man.
Yeah.
Is
there elevation?
No, it's all. I mean, it's a mountainous country, but that runs down the spine. The rest is so it's like sea level and then mountains and then sea level, right? That's all it is. So earthquake central, right?
Right.
But Hokkaido is the most snowy place outside of like Siberia in the world.
Really?
Yeah. So Sapporo, where the beer is made, right, gets 10 feet of snow on average every winter. I mean, and I'm not talking about 10 feet accumulative. I'm talking about 10 feet like kaboom. Like there's 10 feet all winter long. Wow. I don't even know what the term is, right?
Right.
But it's just you go outside and the snow is taller than you.
Snowpack, yeah.
It's just all winter long.
Wow.
And that just appeals to me.
Are the summers pleasant?
Yeah. They're like, 75.
Oh, okay. It's Vancouver.
Yeah. But it's like 20 in the winter, unlike Vancouver.
Yeah.
Maybe more like Whistler.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, the point is that if I'm going to live in Japan, I can't imagine subtropical.
Yeah. I think if I retire, if I ever get to retire, it'll be tropical.
You're going to retire.
It'll be tropical.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to live. We did
Hawaii.
the last time we talked. Well, no, I don't know. I fell in love with Kona. I totally did. I could see myself there in a heartbeat. But I love the floor. I love the barrier islands of Carolina.
Oh yeah,
I love them.
So you're talking like Mount Pleasant, Isle of Palms, or are you talking North
Myrtle,
Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Petey County, that sort of area.
Yep.
It's beautiful up there.
It is. Outer Banks.
If I have to live in the Carolinas, I'd want to live in the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous out there. Kitty Hawk and the big sand dunes that are there.
And even in the Virginia Beach. Not Roanoke, but
no, you're thinking of Chincoteague.
Aztec Chincoteague.
That is gorgeous.
I know, right? The Ponies.
I
watch Ponies.
Now, here's the thing. Yeah, you're making me smile now. I have a lot of experience living in Virginia, and I admit to not being much of a fan, except Chincoteague. That area up there is just incredible. It is incredible.
Eastern Shore.
Yeah. That's gorgeous stuff. And I have friends there too. I could actually go there and actually whatever it's called, not reclimatize, but integrate,
reacclimate.
Yeah, exactly, reacclimate to friends. But and then the western part of the state, over by Galax and north, that runs up into West Virginia, is really mountainous and
the
beautiful.
Alleghenies,
beautiful.
You betcha, man.
Beautiful.
Morgantown and
Antietam,
Hagerstown, Antietam,
so gorgeous.
Yep. There's a little chunk of Maryland that rolls over and kind of steals.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of almost a little panhandle Maryland has. Yeah. There's a little town called Hagerstown, Maryland there. Oh. It's right in the mountains. Yeah. And it's literally, it's a half an hour to West Virginia or Pennsylvania.
I was going to say, you just put your arms out and touch all three states.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it's mountainous. It's Orange Falls and cold winters. And
I want to go there. I've never been there. But anyway, I guess we're off tangent, but we're way off, whatever you want to call it.
Well, we're talking about hurricanes and Rita.
That's true.
And we're talking about the call the climate experts I'm interacting with on Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook is about to get dick whipped.
How so?
Facebook.
Is it going to be large or small?
Oh, it's going to be a big fat. It's be Mueller sized. Facebook. We are coming to understand, and I believe the reporting that I'm seeing. We're coming to understand Facebook's involvement in the last election.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
knowing it's with its complicity.
The weighting of it. I mean,
well-
as in WEIGHT.
Well, in their acceptance of advertising.
dollars. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know they
yeah.
are very
and they're
they're fake news.
they're fake news. Their
They are.
propagation of fake news. As we have come to, even though despite months of vehement denial
Yeah,
that they accepted foreign money to promote fake news on Facebook.
yeah,
And the fact that, and what's going to be the undoing of this administration is the complicity of local collaboration with foreign investors to propagate misinformation on social media.
it's a party.
It's terrifying that we allowed that to happen. You know, that this company that's been an American success story
Yeah,
allowed that to happen.
yeah. I don't know if I have an opinion on this. I mean, I do, but I don't. I would be. It would be highly uninformed. My opinion would be uninformed.
Who didn't see the vast amounts of misinformation on Facebook in the last election cycle?
Oh, it's crazy.
And we can all say that it went both ways bullshit.
Yeah.
But when it went both ways, 90-10. Okay, I don't. That to me that
I
doesn't.
love you.
To me that doesn't bear it to be a false equivalency.
Sure.
That's a 90-10 landslide tipping. And there's no way that a Russian troll farm in St. Petersburg knew with the accuracy with which to target this information.
Is there such a thing actually as a Russian troll farm?
Yeah.
I love that term.
Isn't that great? And that's,
So
I mean,
great.
a little, collection of internet operatives
Yeah.
based in St. Petersburg, Russia,
Russian
working
troll farm.
under false identities to flood our social media with just Pizzagate and
Yeah.
every fucking thing else that these idiots scooped up.
You just got paid for Pizzagate, by the way.
Thank you.
Tink.
I think that was it.
That was the
Nice.
coin
That
dropping
was me.
in your
Bitcoin.
pocket.
I am mystified at people who are still believing in this guy.
In the Pizzagate thing?
No. Well, yeah. That too.
In capital T?
In that, yeah.
In 45?
Yeah. People. Who
I
are
love how
still-
people know. Nobody wants to say the name, like
Right.
as in it's like you're invoking Candyman or something, right?
Well,
you can't say Trump 3 times, and, and Michael Keaton comes out and kills everybody.
I can say President Trump because I don't mind the taste of bile in the back of my throat.
Sure.
Well,
you're used to it.
I am. It's a learned acceptance and a learned response for me. But and I don't want to go down the political rabbit hole, but I am mystified at people that still protect this guy. I was arguing climate change, and I'll move off of this. I swear to God, I was arguing climate change with some idiot on Facebook this morning.
Okay.
Right? Oh, sure. And she's, you couldn't believe Bill Nye. And 154 hurricanes since 1865, but this last one was caused by climate change. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's ignore 98% of scientific research. Let's ignore, I forget what I wrote, but let's ignore 98% of science, and let's go with the con man who's trying to bring coal back.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what we should do.
Yeah.
We should trust that guy.
I was listening to the Tim Ferriss podcast, the latest one, with who's the director? He just directed Mother, with the new movie that's coming out with Jennifer Lawrence. I can't remember his name all of a sudden. And he directed The Wrestler, and he directed
With Mickey Rourke?
yeah. Oh gosh, what's his name? Well, anyway.
Scorsese.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he was talking about
George
this.
Lucas?
He was talking about this very thing about the arguments of climate change and or science in general.
Right.
And he goes, the thing is everybody's getting all their information from their smartphone.
Right.
One of the most scientific things
Right.
you'll ever carry around in your life. And you're using this science to debunk science.
I know. Then that just the bitter irony.
It's just madness. It's just people wanting to believe what they want to believe.
Well, yeah, that's what do they call that when you self-fulfilling, not the self-fulfilling prophecy. There's cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
When you seek out information that supports a position you already hold.
Right. And it's echo chambers arguing with echo chambers.
Oh, it's just brutal.
It's fabulous in a way.
I mean,
it gives us something to talk about.
Climates have always changed. Yes, but usually it takes 10,000 years, not 100.
Well, yeah.
Ice does melt, but when you put it on the stove and turn a fire on, ice melts faster. Are you getting any of this?
Yeah. There are an awful lot of people on this planet now than, I don't know, 100 years ago, there was literally, 1/6 of a population? Maybe a billion? Maybe a billion people? Maybe a billion. Not even a billion.
Right.
That blows my mind. I'm looking it up now, the director, because I don't handle this well.
Not knowing, I know. Well, thank you, smartphone.
And what I'm going to say is I'm going to go, I love this guy. He's one of my favorite directors, Darren Aronofsky.
Okay.
Oh, for God's sake. Because Requiem for a Dream is in my top 10 of all time because it's so relentless and awful and awesome all at the same time.
Right.
Have you ever seen it?
Yes.
It's like the most harrowing 20 minutes of a movie ever. When you're just like, for 20 minutes, you just feel like your fingernails are being pulled off.
I don't know.
Awesome.
I don't know about entertainment like that. I mean, I get it, but the human mind wasn't made to withstand
it's intended to be as jarring as possible.
I know, but I know that, but we aren't supposed to go through that as humans. It's
a roller coaster. It's just a really long drop.
Yeah, well, those guys, they're not a lot of naturally formed roller coasters in the world either.
Granted.
So
yeah, there's a reason the drop is only 120 feet.
To my point, we're not supposed to see this shit we're seeing. We're not supposed to receive the kind of stimulation we've got at our fingertips.
Yeah, he amplifies that stimulation.
Oh, completely.
It's like 1,000-fold over anybody else.
You talk about your smartphone looking up in that director's name because you couldn't stand to not know.
That's true.
This is totally this.
That's embarrassing.
No, well, it's human nature. It's we're addicted to information.
It's Pavlov.
That's exactly what I was getting to. It's instant gratification, but we're addicted to it.
Yeah.
And now information has become a drug that we're addicted to.
Yeah. Well,
or misinformation is a drug we're addicted to.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's we love the idea. I mean, it's all that idea. You've seen this stuff where somebody posts something on, it doesn't matter, on any social media, and then the first person has to respond first.
Right. Race in. Right.
First.
Right.
No, they just have to say first.
Right.
So they can be first.
Right.
Which is just mind-blowing and
you win
and pathetic.
Here's your ribbon.
It's pathetic, right? It's
pathetic.
It's as pathetic as the word can mean.
But there's nothing more base human nature than that.
I mean, name a time in your life where you haven't learned, where you've learned something extraordinary has just occurred. For example, on 9/11.
Right.
When the moment you knew, it's not that you couldn't wait to tell people in the sense of you want to be the guy who brings the bad news.
Right.
But there's something in human nature that says, I know something you don't, and I want to share it with you. So your first interaction with this news is via me.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Nobody wants to admit that it's true, but I have to tell you, I love being the guy who knows and going, did you hear? Oh my God. And my wife's like, what are you talking about? She's at home like knitting.
Did you see this?
Yeah, and did you hear downtown?
Have you heard this?
Just downtown North Bend, 25 people murdered and you're knitting, but I admit to being, to enjoying,
well, that's
giving the news.
Well, that's a sense of self-worth, a sense of, that's an accomplishment. That's a reward. That's you being the best you can be. That's cool.
I guess. And Spike is back from his pee-pee break, so now we can actually talk about our Deep Six for the week. And yes, we are back on a Deep Six topic, and we might very well Deep Six our podcast with this topic today because it's just weird and dangerous enough that people will think we are crazy or religious freaks.
Okay.
or crazy again.
Oh.
Or
Lose
just
them,
idiots.
win
Maybe
them
just
back, and
idiots.
lose them again. I like it.
I've got my fishing pole out. Wow. That was nice. Thank you. I don't know how to edit this out, so I'm going to leave it.
Okay.
This week's magical topic is suddenly and assuredly.
Aliens.
Oh, yeah, baby. All right.
Do you believe?
I don't believe in aliens as in like another species from another planet.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. I really, truly don't. I part of me wants to believe that there's, certainly something out there. It's that whole, how could this universe be as large as
Right.
it is, let alone our galaxy,
Right.
which is a minute part of the greater known
Right,
universe.
right.
That we're the only sort of magical life out there.
This is the one
with our
place
distance, exactly.
where climate and resource came together
Right.
to generate life
Right.
and evolution.
Right. But see, I don't believe in evolution at all.
Okay.
I really don't. And
It's
we've had
interesting.
had these talks.
I believe in,
The planet's only 6,000 years.
yeah, Jesus on a dinosaur.
Jesus, the
Yeah.
unicorn, right? The Jesus dinosaur.
Jesus dinosaur.
Even my Christian friends are like, dude, shut the fuck up. You make us look stupid. No, I love having this conversation because it's fun to mess with the idea of
Sure.
it, right? The answer is I don't know.
I know, but I hold both beliefs.
Okay.
I honestly do. I honestly believe in a higher power and creation.
I used to believe in where you're going until about 10 years ago when I talked with a scientist who was a Christian apologetic, who actually
Apologist,
was,
yeah.
He was for
Yeah.
evolution, and then he was
Right.
like, you know what I mean? And we
He's a scientist who bailed on evolution.
yes. And he bailed on evolution and started talking about how creation could be the only way that it actually worked out, and that there's proof of it all the way through. Literally, no. So here's the thing. I know you can roll your eyes.
I'm not.
But I listened
smirking
to him.
loudly.
I went to one of his presentations, and I listened to this, and I got to admit, I was like, oh, okay. And so
Okay.
then, and on our during a break, I went back and I talked to him, and I said, well, what about like the whole dinosaur thing?
Sure.
Or what about all these variables? And he
Right.
said, well, and he went down the road with trees and bees, and how bees, obviously have limited lifespans, and that trees have limited periods that they can produce fruit, as an example, and that there are certainly a few trees out there that, in a sense, are asexual, that don't require pollination
Yeah.
to produce a fruit. But even cherry trees, they can't produce fruit by themselves. They need either another tree, so there needs to be two trees, and typically pollination from other insects as well, right? And he was just talking about the fact that if it weren't literally, as in, God made light, and then God made the earth, and then God made the plants and animals, right? In sort of the order that the Bible talks about, that it couldn't be strung across millions of years because there's no way for life to propagate without extreme speed. In other words, right? You can't make a human without sperm, as an example. You can't make human from dirt. I can't go out and make dirt into a human being over bazillions of years because it still needs either, I don't know what it is. Again, I'm not a scientist, protozoa, I don't know, a cell, but cells don't, in other words, things don't come out of a vacuum. Something has to create something. There has to be a form of creation somewhere for it to all to occur. And anyway, the point being with all of this is he had this whole thing strung out about how bees, and when it was just one topic that bees needed to exist to create this thing that would then create that thing that will create that thing. So it was the idea that you can't string it across 1,000 years, let alone a billion years.
But 7 days makes sense.
But it's either. But the thing is that then you have to agree that there is a creator. Why would God do it the hard way when He can do it the easy way? That doesn't make any sense to me. If you're God, motherfucker, boom, there it is, right? Why would you do it over 1 billion years to give people the opportunity to not then believe in you? In other words, why wouldn't it be miraculous?
It offered us to test.
Well, sure.
of proof.
But that's
proving
also
faith.
proof that most people don't have faith because they want it to work the way they want it to work, not necessarily the way God would work it. And I know we're on this weird all of a sudden discussion. This has nothing to do with aliens.
It has everything to do with aliens. I'm a firm believer in just the law of probability. In every star you see is a sun.
Sure.
Every sun has the
ours
potential
is a
for planets.
sun.
Right.
Yeah,
It's just one star, our sun. You saying that for every star out there, there's no way that somewhere else
Not saying
has
that at all.
frog people.
I'm not saying that at all.
Has a slimy, tentacle folk of.
I'm saying what I guess I'm saying is that I don't believe any group of beings from another world, if there
Have
are
ever
any
came
out
here?
there that would have come here, because we're so far away. And again, it goes back to that whole, well, why would they come here unless they're like locusts who want to eat our planet, which is straight out of the movies.
Sure. Well,
Right.
yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I like the idea, and this is where I'm going to show my religious colors. I like the idea. I told you I was actually going to go here. I like the idea that all the things we think we are seeing that are alien life forms or the unexplained, whether they are ghosts or are actually demonic. I like that idea. I'm not saying they are. I'm saying I like the idea that they are
To challenge our faith?
that they are tricks.
Okay.
Because let's get down to let's go straight Bible for 5 seconds. Okay. Pretend the Bible is completely real.
I'm just going to look at my phone.
Yeah,
while
you should
this.
do that. No, but let's pretend that it's actually telling the truth and that it's literally the way things are. I mean, literally the way things are. Well, I'm getting lost in my own thoughts here.
Because you're wondering if you should have said pretend and not just accept. Right? That's exactly why, right?
Well, I'm just...
Yeah. When you said pretend the Bible is real,
Yeah.
you just gave the game away.
Well, yeah. I'm saying it's hard
Let's
to...
accept that the Bible is literal and true.
Yes.
Okay? If we accept that
Yes.
to be true, then every doubt is placed here as temptation.
Or
from the
or
other
to the
team.
like, right? A
Right.
trick of some kind,
Yeah.
if it were, right?
Right.
And so,
A test.
right. And so, it talks about possessions, for example. In Jesus' time, him coming along and literally meeting people who were possessed by many demonic entities, right? Who are you? We are legion, right? That whole thing, right?
Okay.
And then cast them out into pigs, and the pigs run off the cliff, right?
Okay.
And they drown themselves. Okay. I just really think, and I really do believe this part at least, that things we hear that go bump in the night that are unexplained are traditionally thought of as ghosts or animals or wind or something. But there are so many times when people see flashes of light or there's literally occurrences that are quote unquote unexplained. I have a friend that was on a TV show about ghosts who has a property out in Indiana, and he absolutely believes off camera that it's demonic. He wouldn't say it on the show because he didn't want to look like an idiot, that whole thing, right? But he believes that it's demonic and that there had been a murder on his property a number of years prior, and that it's not the ghost of the person that was murdered, but it was a demonic entity that was attached to the property, if you will. Because the one thing that again the Bible seems to stress is that demons can inhabit, are in things, that they're in rocks and that they're in wood and that they're in, I know that sounds so weird, but it's the idea that they are representing darkness. So if you were a bad guy and you go murder somebody, it's not all you. That's all I'm saying. That it's not just you. You're
being a vehicle,
influenced, if you will.
Yeah.
Not necessarily possessed, but influenced.
Okay.
Right? Because geez, look at Martin Shkreli, or whatever, however you pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is not just an asshole.
Yeah.
It's like he's possessed.
Yeah.
When you get a camera on him, his whole level of smirk and his desire to shove it in your face and make, guess what, motherfucker?
Yeah.
I'm awesome and I can fuck you over. He's that guy. He just relishes it.
Yeah.
And I watched that. The first time I ever saw him, I'm like, that guy's like possessed. So I guess my whole point with this whole thing, and not about the aliens because we haven't gone there yet, is if God's God, if God is real, then all this other stuff has to be real. Demons have to be real. Angels have to be real. I mean, they have to be. They have to be. Well, I mean, it would make so much more sense than I don't know what it is. It's just things that go bump in the night. It would make a lot more sense that it's literally an entity, and that is scary to me.
So couldn't all these things that couldn't all
I'm going to edit all this shit out.
Really?
No.
Couldn't all this that you've cited just be chalked up to mental illness?
It could be, but wouldn't
that,
it be easier to say it's mental illness than it is demonic influence?
Well, yeah. Isn't sometimes the most simple answer usually the right one?
Yeah, Occam's razor.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, and
But that would be acknowledging that there's real spiritual influence, and that would be acknowledging that God is real, and people don't want to acknowledge that. So it's easier to say it's mental illness.
Well, I think mental illness is also proof that God is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, God, if you believe, and I choose to because it's just soothing, comforting.
Okay.
I mean,
I love how you put that.
Well,
you guys should have seen his face. He's just like, God. God's like a nice warm back rub.
He is. Well, isn't that the basis of all religion, though, is to soothe and salve the masses?
Or control.
Okay, well, but then if you got to control to have civilization, then you use a mechanism, you create a mechanism to accomplish your goal.
It's but I mean, a lot of people would definitely say there's a fear-based mechanism too. I mean, there's
of course.
Significant control using religion, the church, etc.
Of course, that's how civilization has been molded.
Yeah.
And sculpted, that's how it's been done.
I'm not making a good argument today.
Well, you don't have to. You have me at hello.
Yeah, I know. It's fun to talk about.
It is, but I believe in science and I believe in God, because how could we have science without God?
I absolutely agree with you.
How could we have the intellect to understand and examine science, improve science without the gift of God's?
Right.
I mean, God created the brain.
Right.
Okay, I firmly believe that.
Right.
But I also believe in evolution.
Okay.
I believe that God was like, we had a whole planet full of all these things, and they evolved over zillions of years. But did God have a model for us? Yes, by all means. Boom, here it is. Now that I've built this world, and all these things have been evolving in this world for eons, then boom, here's people. I mean, maybe I'm full of shit. I'm sure I am.
No.
But it makes me feel comfort, and that's okay. And it gives me a compass with which to try and live my life.
Right.
Which is the ultimate goal of religion. It may be fear and control based, but it's also a guidebook.
I don't think it's fear and control based. I mean, look. So here's the thing.
As in any system, can be exploited,
sure,
and corrupted and bastardized.
Sure.
Look at Islamic extremists. Islam is not a religion of violence. Islamic extremism is a perversion.
Okay.
The Klan is not Christianity.
No, God.
They use Christianity as their bedrock.
Sure.
But it's a perversion and exploitation.
It's their excuse to.
Yeah. So and that's the analogy. I mean, I saw that on West Wing, so it must be true. but that is the
Martin
correct.
Sheen said it.
That's the correct analogy, though.
Yeah.
Islamic extremism is to Islam as KKK is to Christianity.
Okay.
Was that at least a fair analogy?
I think. I mean,
you see these white nationalist fuckwads on TV.
Yeah, I'm so ignorant.
Talking about how Christianity is about white people and killing people. If we have to kill them all,
right,
to have our separate from them, that's what we'll do.
Well, I mean, Latter-day Saints.
Perversion.
I mean, as an example, the LDS, the Mormon Church believed and I really believe they believe this still. They just don't politically say it anymore, but they believed that black people, African Americans, were the mark of Cain. I mean, that they were, quote unquote, the evil race, so to speak, right? And
God's
they were
punishment,
right, shunned from the church. The mark, the color, if you will, the darkness was a reminder that person comes from an evil lineage or a dark line,
right,
so to speak.
Right.
And so they were, in a sense, again, my understanding, shunned from the LDS Church up until 1995. I mean, it was like really recent where they realized, wow, politically this really hurts us. We can't grow our church anymore.
Right.
We've got all the white people already.
Right.
We need more money.
We're going to need more recruits.
And again,
Much like today's
this is not a
GOP.
knock to my friends who are LDS. I just don't here's how I see cults in general, and then.
We are all over the
We are all
road.
over the map. But you know what? I am going to say this. A cult is something that changes its mind constantly. And so I'm willing to go down this road, and I hope we don't lose fans over. Well, we probably will. At least you'll lose people who don't want to befriend me or follow me anymore. But to me, churches that change are cults, because they are constantly adjusting for the demographic, or they're constantly adjusting for the timeline. And I look at those churches with a grain of salt, because some of them are based around end of the world. The Jehovah's Witness church is very much based around the end times, or based around what's the word, Armageddon.
Yeah.
And in the late 1800s, the leaders of that particular sect of Christianity were predicting that the world would end. I think it was 1912, and literally had claimed a year, and they were constantly adjusting it as they passed the years.
Much like the debt ceiling.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Now it's all of a sudden 1922. Now it's $1 trillion. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And to me, that's it's obviously clear that if it were inspired, it wouldn't, if God is truth, it wouldn't be inspired by God, because it's not the truth. It didn't happen, right?
Okay.
In other words, if a prophecy is a prophecy, a real prophecy comes true.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so clearly those are just guys,
False prophecies.
people saying, well, this is going to happen, and it didn't happen.
Right.
And they kept making adjustments, kept making adjustments. And
that's a cult.
And to me, that's a cult, because it's clearly not divinely inspired. It's clearly humanly inspired, right? The ways I want to think based on X, right? It's similar to how, all of a sudden I can't remember his name, the guy who started the theory of evolution, Charles Darwin.
Chuck D.
Chuck D.
The original
Chuck D. Yeah. He was a Christian, quote unquote, until his wife died, and he became so angry that God would have killed his wife that he worked on a solution to disprove.
Okay.
And it shows the power behind, right? If you're pissed off enough, you can create a whole new world, based on the lack of science, if you will, or in his case, the proportion of science and theory. So I totally get why it exists, and there's certainly a part of me that says, well, I could see how that works. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I admit I'm choosing to say, well, I'm going to follow this over here, because to me it's almost like the prime directive, right?
Okay.
It says,
what's in it for you?
What's in it for me?
Yeah.
Influence in the way that I believe God wants for me to influence. For example, we have a lot of shared friends, and all of them know I'm a Christian. Mm-hmm. All of them know I'm a failed F up, screw up.
Sure.
But I don't claim to be. I'm made perfect by the power of Christ, all that crap. I'm not that guy. I believe in what I believe in, but I also understand that I'm very human, very much a failure. But it is my heart, and I think this is why we're friends, because we're aligned. This sounds really cheesy, but it's the truth. We're aligned with our heart. It doesn't matter if we have different religious beliefs or different sociological beliefs. Uh-huh. The fact is, we're both really good people who love people first. Yeah. Despite their failings, despite our disagreements.
Right.
And that's why I can be friends with, I don't know, Scott, right? Yeah. Who's very much an atheist, by the way.
Yeah.
And he doesn't mind me saying it, because he is very much an atheist. And he's one of my favorite people in the whole world.
Right.
And we don't argue about religion.
No.
We just love each other.
Right.
And he knows exactly how I think, and I know exactly how he thinks, and it's cool. I'm all good with it.
Right.
My whole goal as a believer is to just love on people right where they're at. And if that pisses people off at the church, well, fuck those guys. Because I don't care.
No.
That's where I believe my sort of faith in saying, okay, if Christ were sitting here in this room, I'm not saying he would agree with me, But I would hope he would agree with me and say, yeah, you're right, Rob. Fuck those guys, because you're loving on people, and loving on people is a demonstration of my will. Your attempt at holiness, because I can't be holy, but I can be loving.
Well,
I love you, Spike.
I love you too, man. But I think your ability to love and your prime directive is from it's from your Christianity.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
how I
very
grew
holy
up.
point of view.
Yeah, it's how
it really
I grew
is.
up. Yeah,
I can get down with that.
yeah.
Yeah. But as aliens,
So aliens. So back to aliens.
I know we're trying to.
This is so not our deep
No.
sex.
See, that's funny though, because I mean, so our Creator created this rock.
Our.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our rock.
Yeah.
Our little spot. That can work and exist in harmony.
Yeah.
With other
Absolutely.
other
I hope
ways
there's
to
other
get
stuff
here.
out there.
Yeah. I mean, I do too. I honestly believe it's going to be our saving grace.
Yeah. And by the way,
Well, it's just
there's
cool.
nothing biblical that says there is nothing out there. Nothing.
Right. No.
It's just we want to believe he's our God.
Yeah,
It's totally selfish.
that's
It's totally how it is.
therein
too.
lies all the trouble.
I know.
I'm not saying I'm a firm believer, but I'm a firm optimist.
Yeah.
I'm
But
a
I've
hopeful.
seen stuff.
I'm a hopeful.
I've seen stuff. Have you seen stuff?
I think I've seen stuff.
Yeah.
I think I have.
I saw, how there's the satellites, you can see the
Yeah.
satellites
Yeah,
jam
yeah.
around.
Yeah.
I've seen a satellite turn around.
Me too.
Really?
I've seen a light in the sky change directions 3 times and zigzag across the sky.
Yeah, and
Back
when I
and
say
forth.
extreme sudden change,
I'm talking about a
like
180.
we're talking.
Yeah.
Literally, I saw the
Yep.
same thing. I saw this thing go, blah, 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 and I'm
Yep.
like, and I
saw
was
it make
with a friend.
I saw it make a Z pattern across the sky.
Okay. And it was an
over
instant turn.
and over. Yeah, I mean, just it's
Not like a long,
moving at. Well, I might
like
have
an
moving
airplane.
at a great distance.
Yeah.
and then take a complete the other direction
Yep,
back.
yep.
and then do it again. And I'm doing making a Z in the air
Yeah.
with my finger, and then do
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah.
over the course of 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And were we drinking? Yeah. Were we stoned? Probably. Did we both see it?
I saw it in Eastern Washington. I wasn't
Did we
drinking
both
or stoned.
acknowledge
I
it?
was 14 years old.
I was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And saw that with a friend. We both saw what we saw. And that's is there something scientific that could explain that? Maybe.
Wouldn't it be great if it was the exact same
Same
experience
night?
on the same night?
Yeah, probably would. How much younger are you than me?
I'm 3 years younger than you.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have probably been about 17.
That would be just
Yeah.
crazy. It was summertime.
Yeah.
And I was outside with my buddies.
Yep. I was with Skylar Brown.
We were staying. We were sleeping outside.
Yep.
The overnight camp over, whatever you want to
Yep.
call it, where it's like 20 degrees in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I lived
Oh,
in
yeah.
the high mountain country at the
Yeah.
time.
We were in Baltimore in a park. At the edge of our neighborhood, there was a big old park.
Smoking pot.
Probably. I can't say specifically. Pot fucks your memory up.
Yeah.
But we both saw this shit going sideways.
Yeah.
We're like, wow, you seeing that? Yeah. And we watched it again. It did it again. No
Really?
shit. It did it again.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
I just saw it do it once, but it was abrupt.
Yeah. I mean, it was
know.
complete change of direction.
Yeah.
From a great distance at high speed.
Yes.
This thing
Clearly-
was crossing the horizon.
Right. Clearly a long ways up there.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it
a
looked
dot.
like a star itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Just
Same
a
thing we
moving
saw.
star.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yep.
I know I've seen things that are, again, clearly
Mm-hmm.
unexplained. So
Right.
would I say I believe in UFOs? Yes. Because
Yes.
it's unidentified
Right.
and it's flying,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
I've never seen an alien-ish thing on the ground. But
No,
let me
no.
tell you a cool story. And it happened here in Seattle. So this kind of goes along with what I was talking about earlier in the idea of demonic or angelic hosts, if you will. So a very good friend of mine from college went through a period of his life where he was into witchcraft.
Okay.
Okay. And I mean, we're talking like demonic. I mean, full
Okay, so let me
on
ask-
witchcraft.
Okay, so let me
Like,
ask you this, because I have people that I love who have also done that, but not for an evil. I'm talking more of a Wiccan vein.
he was doing it because he was curious about what kind of shit would happen if he messed around with it.
Okay.
He was
He was trying to gain power.
and
What could I accomplish if I do this?
Exactly.
Okay.
And
Well, that's kind of the same thing I'm talking about too, but not for evil.
And I was there when he was doing it.
Okay.
So I watched it.
Okay.
And I didn't see anything
Okay.
in the sense of like a magic flash or something crazy. Okay. But I did feel a coldness in the room. You know, you hear about this where people say like there's something demonic in the room. And all of a sudden the room gets cold. It's like straight out of The Exorcist. You can breathe your own breath. It was crazy how cold the room got. And I remember being so scared. I was like, oh my God, I can't be here. And I left. And I went down to a friend of mine's room, and this is a college, which is a Christian college. But, you know, I don't know. And we come up, and he comes in the room, and he's like a new age guy, this guy. And he comes in and he goes, oh, there's definitely an energy going on in here, very low vibration. I remember him saying that. And I remember even rolling my eyes and going, seriously, dude, a vibration, you know, you and your new age bull crap, you know? So anyway, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to out my friend. But here's the point. He... and I wasn't there, but he told me this story, and he cried. I mean, it was really real to him. He was at Seattle Center, and this would have been in the late 80s, and he was working for UPS. He decided, he took a break down by the fountain, and he had been really ill for a couple of weeks, physically ill, and he had gone to doctors, and nobody could tell him what was wrong with him. And this was not long after this whole thing. Okay. And he had been ill for quite some time. He was walking over, he says, I was walking over by the fountains, and I saw a really beautiful man sitting on a bench next to Center House, which is where at the time all the restaurants were. Right. And he felt compelled to go over towards that man. Yes. Like it was a being he didn't know. And he said when he got near the man, it was like a homeless person, but a beautiful homeless person. He said the man looked up at him, and there was a bright flash, and he was gone. And he felt something being pulled out of him. He said it felt like there was like a lizard with a tail being pulled out of the back of his neck. He said when this happened, it was like a flash, and then he felt this get pulled out of him, like up his backbone and out the back of his neck. I swear to God. Okay. And he said it was so weird and shocking, and he was instantly embarrassed, as though people were watching him like go like, you know, dance, like he was like, you know. And so, you know, he opens his eyes and he looks, and the guy's not there. He turns around and the guy's not there. And he's like, what was that? What did I just experience? So he goes, and he's, again, UPS guy, he goes back in his UPS truck. He goes up to the top of Queen Anne Hill, which for people who don't live here, it's about a 1,500 foot tall hill, just north of Seattle Center. And there's a lot of homes up there and businesses on the top. And he was delivering up there. He turned around and he was coming back down the hill. And I know you could say this is sun, but he was pointed south on Queen Anne Boulevard, looking straight across the horizon. You could see Mount Rainier over to the, you know, slightly to the left. And all of a sudden, there was this incredibly bright light in front of him. And it wasn't the sun, because the sun was off to the right. You know, maybe West. 7 o'clock at night, and there was this incredibly bright light. He closed his eyes because he couldn't see, and he felt a feeling of warmth. You know, again, not sun, but warmth and love, like what people talk about, like when they die and they go down the long tube, and they're like, I just want to get to the light. It's so warm and loving, right? And all the way to the bottom of the hill, he drove to the bottom of the hill with his eyes closed. And when he opened his eyes, he was at the bottom down by Roy and Mercer. I mean, we're talking a mile and a half with his eyes closed, going down a hill in a UPS truck. And again, I get it. You could do that. You could accidentally make it all the way to the bottom of the hill and not crash. But but he said the whole experience was, when he was at Seattle Center, it felt like he had something pulled out of him, and was at the bottom of the hill. He felt like God was putting power into him, like healing him. Okay. And he never, ever went back to that world and that life ever again. And everything in his life changed, and he wasn't sick anymore either. He had instantly was stopped being sick. I mean, he had been like sick. Like he had gone to the doctor they couldn't figure it out. They thought he had potentially cancer, pneumonias, all sorts of issues. But he didn't have the signs, but he had all the reactions of those things. I can't explain it. Symptoms, excuse me. But he didn't have any sort of physical...
No cause.
Exactly. They couldn't figure it out. And so he attributes it, I'm not saying it's true or not, but he attributes it to demonic influence in his life, that he had a demon in him.
Wow.
And it was pulled out of him.
And they drug tested you, yes. Right?
Yes.
Just
Yes. No, I know. But he said he saw the one part I forgot was that he said when he tried to open his eyes, he saw a face in the light, and he said, "I don't know if I saw Jesus or what I saw."
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
When
And
was
I was like, wow, that's really cool. 1988.
Okay.
This is a long time ago.
Wow.
And it completely changed him. Whatever it was, Spike, it changed his life completely. Like, I mean, he stayed away from everything, and it's not like he became a minister.
No, but he was always spiritual.
Yes.
He was at a religious college.
Yeah, but he was definitely not. I mean, he didn't grow up as a religious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see. I mean, I grew up in the Lutheran church, and Lutherans are kind of, it's fun. I call them Jack Christians because they say they don't want. Jack Catholics. They say they don't want to be Catholic, but they're basically Catholic. Okay. And I mean, they do all the same things Catholics do. They just say they're not Catholic. He grew up in a family like that, but he didn't have any sort of real faith, if you will, any traditional, what you would call traditional faith. I know this is the weirdest. I don't know if I'm going to put any of this stuff online. I have no idea. I'm sorry. Hurricanes and Bibles.
Aliens, and demons.
Yuck. There's going to be like two Christian friends of mine are going to be like, this is the worst download ever. But you know what, Rob? Thank you for having the power of Christ compel you towards leading Spike's soul back to heaven.
Spike's soul's going to be just fine, man. I know. Like I said, I just need a long death. I see enough time to apologize and to explain my shit. That's I just can't go off. If I go off a bridge, it's got to be a tall bridge.
So, can I talk about something real quick?
Sure.
No, I haven't already. So my brother,
you're going to share something embarrassing?
Yeah. Well, so my brother, his fiance died just a couple days ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was really awful, and that was one of the. So I want to get this off my chest because it's a dick move on my part.
Okay.
So
you didn't kill her, did you?
No.
Okay, sorry. That was a dick move on my part. Don't you feel better?
Yeah, but so my brother, my brother had been with this woman for 10 years, and I had never met her until my dad's funeral last year.
Okay.
And they came into town, and my dad died. I was feeling sorry for myself and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think you might be allowed at that point.
And my brother and I, we love each other, but we're not close. Okay. I mean, we're nothing alike.
Okay.
Nothing. And she's a lot like my brother. And so we just didn't really have anything in common. So when I met her, it's not that I blew her off, but I didn't try. I didn't try to get to know her.
This was a year ago?
When they were in town. And it's funny. I mean, all I remember about her is meeting her and thinking, wow, she has a really deep voice because she's a smoker. Uh-huh. So she had this really, really, she talked like this, like, wow, her voice is really deep. And she and my brother, they smoke and nobody else in the family smokes. So they'd always be out on the porch when everybody else in the family, we're having our family stuff, hanging out together, celebrating my dad's life and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then they went back to Florida.
Okay.
And then she had an aneurysm, I don't know, a week and a half ago now.
Wow.
And she died. And I just feel like a jerk. Like I never tried to get to know her. I never, and I feel so sorry for my brother because he finally had somebody in his life that that got him and that really loved him for who he was, and now she's gone, and now he's by himself, and he's living in Florida, and then the hurricane comes and it knocks his power out, and he lives right on the beach, which sounds great until you have a hurricane come and waste your house.
Right. Have you reached out to him?
Yeah.
Have you connected?
Once, because he doesn't want to talk
about her death.
He just doesn't want to talk. And my brother's really, really introverted in that way.
Well, you said you're exact opposites.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
all the time. My
illustrated,
brother's
Yeah.
and the only time he opens up is when he's been drinking a bit, and I'm not going to judge my brother on his but then I don't get my 100% brother. I get my drunk brother.
Right.
And so it's just really been tough. And my poor mom, she's been. Because she loves her boys, she doesn't want her son to hurt, and she doesn't want her other son to judge the son that's hurting, and she's lost her daughter-in-law now, and she just lost her husband, and so it's just like I just feel like a jerk because I'm over here like trying to make money. I'm over here trying to be, here's Rob Jones, Mr. Ambition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And guys, I'm when I make some money, instead of I'm just going to be in your life. When I make some money, I'll be in your life. It's such a. I'm not saying that, and I don't mean that.
Right.
But it
feels like you're living that.
It feels like I'm living that.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, family. Please don't judge me. That's where I've failed. I have so failed there. I've so failed that.
I don't know what to say about that. I mean, and I appreciate your loving me enough to share that with me, and then you'll put this out.
And the other 5 people that are listening to this podcast.
To say it out loud is the hard part.
Yeah.
It's not your task to be anybody but you.
I guess.
They say knowing you've got a problem is the first step of getting better. So if you know you want to be better for your brother, you want to be better for your mom, to acknowledge that and say it out loud, that's not a small thing.
Yeah. Don't you think it's hard though? I mean, I think most people want to help people, but
I would hope that's the case.
But don't you think when you get down to it that it's really hard to help people because we're all so busy just trying to make our own lives okay?
Absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. And I have a very similar scenario in my life.
Yeah.
In that my dad is in Florida and I don't connect.
Yeah.
My mom passed away 4 years ago. I think it was now maybe 3. That's embarrassing. I think it was 4. But and my dad remarried, and he needed to be with somebody. That's cool.
Yeah.
He met somebody after she had died. It's not like he knew this woman prior, but he's just not meant to be alone. And why should he be alone to make me feel better?
Sure.
That would be insanely selfish of me, and that's not the reason I don't. Maybe it is the reason I don't connect. I don't know, but I don't connect. My dad, who's in Florida, who's in Tampa, who's got no power this week.
Yeah.
And when I do connect with him, it's difficult. It's a pain in the ass. He does and says and thinks things I don't agree with.
Yeah.
So rather than force myself to connect to an unpleasant situation for me, which is also selfish, just like you're feeling, you do what you got to do to survive. You got people who are immediately need you. It's one thing to be there for family. It's another thing to be there people in family who are counting on you.
Yeah.
You got an immediate family that's counting on you. Your goals of making money aren't selfish. They're not. They're not selfish.
Well, they're ambitious. I wouldn't call them
they're
selfish.
ambitious, but are you making money to take care of your family?
Yeah.
Well, that's.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
it's pretty clear. If you come to my house, you'd be like, "Holy crap, dude! You live like you have no money."
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I totally do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're moving in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we're moving to a house 3 times the size I live in. And I'm like, I literally said to my wife, I said, I don't want to spend money on stuff to fill the house. And she's like, well, we're going to have rooms with like a chair in it. And I'm like, well, but that's going to be...
Come take some of my stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I'm totally going to.
I got so much stuff, dude.
And you can have it back when we move out.
I don't ever want it back.
But I mean, we have, I'm telling you, it's 3 times the size of where we live.
Well, we bought a house bigger than ours and just filled it with more shit. I've got a storage unit full of shit.
I was going to say, you emptied one of the storage units of the 9 storage units.
No, I've got one, but it's full to the rafters. I mean, it's not stacked on top of each other. There's shelving in there, But, I mean, okay. You're beating yourself up because this set of circumstances has presented themselves, which makes somebody you care about, it's difficult for them right now.
Yeah. I just wish I could fix it.
Well, don't fix it, but help it.
I wish I could take it back.
Can you help it? Can you reach out to him and help the situation? You can't fix the situation.
I can.
You can't change the
to
past.
Me, I see the situation like and I'm not. This has nothing to do with like me. I'm not accusing my brother of being this guy. That's not it at all. But I see it like our relationship is like he's a drug addict, and what I mean by that is I reach out to him. He rarely reaches back. It's like me trying to convince him, hey, Mike, stop
being who you are.
Exactly. Which he has to choose to live his life the way he lives. He has to choose to communicate with his family, in a way that I would hope he would want to communicate. And he communicates with my mom like that. Thank God. He has her as an outlet, and she has that relationship with him, so she can, maintain closeness.
Yeah.
But
she also has the same relationship with you, a different kind of relationship with you.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So we both reach out to mom, and we like communicating with her, but we don't necessarily like communicating with each other. Okay. And the fact is I know my brother loves me. I know this without a shadow of doubt. I know my brother admires me. Okay. I mean, he makes it very clear. Okay. He makes it very clear. But that is completely one way.
Older or younger?
He's younger.
Okay.
And I can't lie. I can't. I struggle with all of that stuff the other direction. I completely.
Yeah.
I'm judgmental.
So he's picked to live a life that is vastly
atonal
different.
To me.
Okay.
I just look at it and go like, why?
Yeah.
Stop.
Okay.
You're killing yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, and this
is losing somebody that he loved and was going to marry because of how they were living? Is that going to make a difference for him? Is that going to change who he is?
No. It's just going to amplify how
alone he is.
How alone,
isolated he is.
It has.
Yeah.
And I just, God.
You write letters?
No. I don't even know my brother's address. I've never been to his house.
Then ask him for his address.
I've never visited him.
Then ask him for his address.
I always ask my mom for his address.
Then get it from your mom. Start small.
I have it somewhere. I just I don't know what.
Write him a note. Don't write him a letter. Write him a note.
Yeah.
Take a step. Don't change direction. Take a step. One step.
I know you can see my.
I know you're hurting. You're hurting over it.
Yeah.
You are. That's good though. Because if it didn't affect you, if you didn't give a shit, I think less of you than I do.
Well, we wouldn't be talking about it either.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you didn't bring it up, if it didn't matter to you, that wouldn't be you. Yeah. So take a step. Write him a note. I'm really sorry for your loss. I wish we were closer so I could help.
Yeah.
If you want that, let me know.
Yeah.
There's your note.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Get a Snoopy card and put that shit in there.
With Woodstock on.
Yeah. Whatever.
A Snoopy card.
Let him know you're thinking of him. Doesn't have to be fucking, volumes. Doesn't have to be deep. Doesn't have to be momentous.
Yeah.
Just a step. I should say, I'll tell you what. If you do that for your brother, I'll do that for my dad.
Okay.